Rio de Janeiro's dark side. What the travel brochures won't tell you. When you think of Rio de Janeiro, what comes to mind? Most likely, it's the iconic Christ the Redeemer statue, standing tall with open arms, Sugarloaf Mountain silhouetted against a golden sunset, or the famous beaches of Copacabana and Ipanema teeming with bronzed tourists and colorful umbrellas. International media sells Rio as an earthly paradise, the marvelous city, the world's carnival capital, birthplace of bossa nova, and home to some of the planet's most stunning beaches. Travel magazines showcase pristine images of couples strolling along Ipanema's boardwalk, friends playing beach volleyball at sunset, and families sipping coconut water while admiring the green mountains embracing the city. The international press highlights the infectious joy of the Carioca people, the vibrant samba culture, and the spectacular geography that makes Rio one of the world's most photogenic destinations. But what if there's another Rio de Janeiro that exists behind these perfect postcards? A darker side that travel agencies prefer to hide, that guidebooks barely mention in fine print, and that thousands of tourists discover the hard way each year. A side marked by extreme violence, crushing poverty, organized crime, and urban warfare that seems ripped from an action movie but is daily reality for millions of Carioca. This article isn't meant to scare you away from visiting Rio, but to prepare you. Understanding the complete truth about a destination makes you not only a smarter traveler, but also a safer one. So, get ready to discover the Rio that doesn't appear on Instagram, the one that exists beyond the tourist filter, where beauty and danger coexist separated by just a few blocks. 1. Favelas and poverty, the invisible face of inequality. Complexo do Alemão. A city within a city. If anything defines Rio's brutal contrast, it's the favelas. And when discussing favelas, Complexo do Alemão cannot be ignored. This isn't just a poor neighborhood. It's a network of 13 interconnected communities forming a parallel city, home to over 70,000 people living stacked on hillsides in unfinished brick houses that seem perpetually on the verge of collapse. From the cable car system the government built in 2011, you can see the full extent of Alemão. It's a striking view. Thousands of houses crammed together, narrow alleys snaking through the hill, electrical wires dangling precarious, and the constant sense that everything teeters on the edge of chaos. For adventurous tourists brave enough to ride the cable car, it's a cultural experience. For those living there, it's daily reality. Alemão is Comando Vermelho territory, the most powerful criminal faction in Rio. Here, the state only arrives in the form of violent police operations. Basic services like potable water, sewage, and garbage collection are precarious or non-existent. Children grow up seeing military-grade weapons as part of the everyday landscape, and the sound of gunfire is as common as birdsong. Peña, where law doesn't reach. The Complexo de Peña represents another reality few tourists know. With over 60,000 residents distributed across several communities, Peña embodies everything wrong with Rio's urban development model. Houses were built without any planning. Streets are impossible labyrinths to navigate without local knowledge, and state presence is virtually non-existent. What makes Peña especially dangerous is its strategic location near major city access routes. This makes it a constant battleground between criminal factions. Confrontations are frequent, intense, and deadly. During gang war, residents become trapped in their homes. Schools close, and life simply stops until the storm of bullets passes. Peña is also notorious for narco-blockade, where traffickers cut off main roads to prevent police access or intimidate the population. Imagine leaving your house for work and encountering burning tires blocking the street, armed men patrolling, and no way through. For residents, this isn't a movie scene, it's just another Tuesday. Rocinha, Latin America's largest favela. Rocinha holds the title of Brazil's largest favela and one of Latin America's biggest, with estimates ranging from 100,000 to 250,000 inhabitants. Nobody knows for certain. Rocinha is a city within a city. Here's the most shocking part. It's located literally between two of Rio's wealthiest neighborhoods, São Conrado and Gavea. You can be sipping a $50 cocktail in an upscale São Conrado bar and less than a 5-minute walk away, you'll find families living in single-room houses without private bathrooms. This contrast isn't metaphorical. It's geographic, visual, and brutal. From million-dollar apartment windows, wealthy residents can look directly into Rocinha's precarious home. It's the most evident social abyss imaginable. Rocinha has its own informal economy with shops, restaurants, bars, hair salons, and even clandestine tourism agencies offering favela tours to curious foreigners. But don't be fooled by this apparent normalcy. Beneath the surface, Rocinha is tightly controlled by drug trafficking. Teenage soldiers patrol armed with assault rifles, establishing informal checkpoints and maintaining order according to the dominant faction's rule. Extreme poverty. Beyond statistics, cold numbers don't capture human reality, but they help dimension the problem. Rio de Janeiro has over 1,000 favelas, where approximately 1.5 million people live, representing 22% of the city's total population. 1 in 5 Cariocas lives in conditions of extreme precariousness. What does living in extreme poverty in a Rio favela mean? It means no reliable access to potable water and storing water in potentially contaminated tanks. It means living without adequate sewage, with wastewater running through streets during rain. It means your children attend overcrowded schools without resources, where teachers are afraid to work. It means growing up without real hope of social mobility, watching drug trafficking become the only visible economic option for young people. It means a hospital trip can take hours because ambulances won't enter communities during shootouts. It means living with constant fear that a stray bullet will pierce your wall while you sleep. The most tragic part is this poverty exists literally beside obscene wealth. Inequality in Rio isn't just statistical, it's architectural, visual, a daily insult to human dignity repeated at every corner where a populated hillside looks down on a luxury neighborhood. 2. Crime and assault. Daily terror, mass robberies on beaches. If anything symbolizes Rio's loss of control over public security, it's the infamous arrastões, mass robberies. Imagine enjoying a perfect beach day in Copacabana. Sunshine, inviting ocean, vendors offering cold caipirinhas. Suddenly, you see a mass of dozens, sometimes hundreds of young people running across the sand in your direction. Within seconds, paradise turns to panic. Arrastões operate on brutal mass intimidation logic. The assailants, generally teenagers and young adults from nearby favelas, arrive in large, coordinated groups. They move fast, shouting, creating chaos, and stealing everything in their path. Cell phones, wallets, jewelry, backpacks, even towels and sandals. The strategy is simple but effective. There are so many that it's impossible for police to react in time, and fear paralyzes victims. Copacabana, which should be one of the safest places for being so touristic, has become a regular scene for these attacks. Arrastões respect neither day nor time. They can happen on a Sunday afternoon with the beach full of families, or a Thursday at sunset when tourists walk the boardwalk. In recent years, these mass robberies have become so common that many Cariocas no longer even bring their good phones to the beach, opting for old or cheap phones they can lose without much pain. Armed robberies in broad daylight, but arrastões aren't the only threat. Armed robberies are everyday occurrences in Rio, even in the most touristic zones. The difference is, these aren't large groups, but individual assailants, or pairs operating with total impunity. In Copacabana, it's common for motorcyclists to approach pedestrians walking distracted while looking at their phones, snatch the device from their hands, and speed away through traffic. Other thieves prefer the direct method. They approach with a weapon, demand the phone, wallet, and watch, and disappear into alleyways before you can even process what happened. Most disturbing is the naturalness with which this occurs. Cariocas have developed an entire urban survival culture. Don't use your phone on the street, don't wear visible jewelry, hide your camera when not using it, walk with hands in pockets protecting your wallet, avoid certain ATMs, never walk alone at night under any circumstances. For unprepared tourists from safer countries, these precautions might seem paranoid, but in Rio, they're simple common sense. Avenida Brasil, when even traffic doesn't save you. One of the most alarming cases of Rio's insecurity occurred recently on Avenida Brasil, one of the city's main arteries. During rush hour, with traffic completely stopped, groups of assailants took advantage of trapped cars, unable to escape, to conduct systematic robberies. Imagine the scene. You're in your car, stuck in traffic, surrounded by hundreds of other vehicles. Suddenly, you see several men walking between cars, breaking windows, threatening drivers, and stealing everything they find. You can't accelerate and flee because there are cars ahead and behind. You can only hand over your belongings and pray they don't hurt you. These vehicular arrestões have become a new nightmare for anyone needing to drive through Rio. Being careful while walking isn't enough anymore. Now, even being inside a locked car doesn't guarantee safety. Tourists in the crosshairs. Tourists are especially attractive targets for Rio's criminals. Why? First, they generally carry more money and valuables. Second, they don't know dangerous zones or warning signs that locals instinctively recognize. Third, they're less likely to report crime or pursue legal proceedings in a foreign country. The statistics are alarming. It's estimated that a tourist is robbed every 90 minutes in Rio de Janeiro. This means while you read this article, several tourists are probably being assaulted somewhere in the city. The most dangerous places, ironically, include some of the most touristic. Cardeal Arco Verde Metro Station, Copacabana Access, How did Ritui Fraun, Dona Marta Viewpoint, Lapa Neighborhood at Night, and even surroundings of Christ the Redeemer. 3. Organized crime in favelas. Rio's true owners, Comando Vermelho, the crime empire. To truly understand who governs Rio's favelas, you need to know Comando Vermelho, Red Command, Brazil's most powerful and oldest criminal organization. Founded in 1979 in Ilha Grande Prison, CV as it's known, isn't a simple gang. It's a highly organized paramilitary structure with clear hierarchies, its own code of conduct, and territorial control that would embarrass many legitimate governments. Comando Vermelho controls approximately 60% of Rio's favelas, including some of the largest like Rocinha, Alemão, and Vidigal. Their main business is drug trafficking, moving tons of cocaine, marijuana, and crack each month. But CV is much more than traffickers. They function as a parallel government, providing services in their way, resolving local disputes, and imposing their own law in the state's absence. CV's structure is fascinating and terrifying simultaneously. At the top is the dono, owner of the favela, the supreme leader making strategic decisions. Below him are managers, administering different bocas de fumo, drug selling points. Then come soldiers, generally teenagers and young adults, armed with war rifles like AK-47, AR-15, and even machine guns, patrolling community entrances. At the lowest level are aviões, airplanes, children aged 10-15, serving as lookouts and messengers. Most disturbing is that CV has developed an almost cultural identity. They have their own symbol, red flag with CV initials, their own funk songs glorifying criminal life, and even an ethics code prohibiting members from robbing or abusing residents of communities under their control. For many favela youth, CV isn't just a criminal organization. It's family, identity, and the only visible option for social advance. Terceiro, Comando Puro and Amigos dos Amigos, the rival. If Comando Vermelho is king of Rio's favelas, Terceiro Comando Puro, TCP, is the prince constantly trying to usurp the throne. Born from a split within Comando Vermelho itself in the 1990s, TCP controls approximately 30% of Rio's favelas, mainly in the North Zone and some West Zone communities. The rivalry between CV and TCP is deadly and ancient. It's not just competition over drug markets, it's an existential war where there's no space for negotiation or truce. When one faction invades another's territory, what follows isn't simply a change of administration, but a brutal limpeza, cleansing, where anyone associated with the defeated faction can be executed, including family and friends. The third faction, Amigos dos Amigos, ADA, controls about 10% of territory, but is dangerous due to its unpredictability and extreme violence. Born also from an internal Comando Vermelho division, ADA is characterized by particularly brutal methods and more decentralized structure than other factions. Life under drug trafficking control. To truly understand what living in a crime-controlled favela means, you need to go beyond statistics and sensational news. Daily reality is complex and contradictory. On one hand, trafficking imposes strict rules that, paradoxically, create certain stability. The donos prohibit robberies within the community, punish rapists, and even resolve neighbor disputes. For many residents, the local dono is more accessible and effective than any state authority. On the other hand, this peace has a terrible price. Young people are recruited from childhood, generally between ages 10 to 14, with promises of quick money, respect, and belonging. Once inside, it's almost impossible to leave. A trafficking soldier's life expectancy is barely 25 years. Most die in confrontations with police or rival factions, or end up in prison. 4. Wars with military police and BOP. The endless battle. BOP. Elite police generating as much fear as crime. If you've seen the movie Tropa de Elite, Elite Squad, you already have an idea of what BOP is. Batalhão de Operações Policiais Especiais. Special Police Operations Battalion. But reality surpasses fiction. BOP is Rio's military police elite tactical unit, created specifically to pacify favelas controlled by drug trafficking. With their black uniforms, skull pierced by dagger emblem over a Rio map, and motto Vitória sobre a Morte, victory over death, BOP projects an image of relentless force. BOP agents are trained in urban combat tactics, high-caliber weapons handling, and hostile environment operations. Their selection is brutal. Of every 100 applicants, only 3 or 4 complete training. They're undoubtedly Brazil's best-prepared police officer. But here's the problem. In favelas, BOP doesn't act like conventional police. They act like military forces in enemy territory. BOP incursions into favelas are war operations. They arrive in armored vehicles, armed to the teeth with automatic rifles, grenade launchers, and military tactical equipment. They enter shooting first, ask questions later. For favela residents, there's not much difference between being trapped in a shootout between factions and being trapped during a BOP operation. Bullets don't distinguish between trafficker and worker, who's simply in the wrong place. Police operation, terror from helicopters. One of the most terrifying aspects of police operations in Rio is shooting from helicopter. Yes, you read that right. Rio's police shoot from helicopters toward favelas during operations. Official justification is they're responding to criminals' fire, but reality is this tactic constantly generates civilian casualties. Imagine being in your home in a favela when you hear the helicopter approach. You immediately know an operation is coming. You run to protect your children, lay them on the floor in the spot farthest from windows, which often don't have glass, just curtains. Then, shooting begins. From below, traffickers firing at the helicopter. From above, police returning fire. Bullets pierce precarious roofs, thin walls, and have no specific addressee. In 2019, a case shocked Brazil. An 8-year-old girl was killed by helicopter gunfire while riding in a van with her family in Complexo do Alemão. It wasn't an isolated case. It was just one that got media attention. Each year, dozens of innocent civilians die during police operations, and many are children. The cycle of revenge and violence police operations in Rio don't just seek to arrest criminals, they seek to eliminate them. This creates an endless revenge cycle. When police kill an important trafficker, especially a respected dono or manager, their faction seeks reprisal. Sometimes these reprisals target specific police officers, but more frequently, they're against any police they find. The result is constant low-intensity urban warfare. Numbers are chilling. In 2023, over 1,000 people died in police interventions in Rio de Janeiro state alone. That's an average of nearly 3 people killed per day, and these are only official numbers. Many deaths are never properly registered. Most tragic is this war has no winners. Police lose agents constant. Rio has one of the world's highest rates of murdered police officers. Factions lose soldiers but easily replace them with new desperate recruits. And Favela residents lose their children, parents, neighbors, trapped in crossfire that never ends. Police corruption, when the protector becomes the enemy. But there's something even darker in this equation: widespread police corruption. Not all Rio police are clear heroes or villains. Many are trapped in a corrupt system where the line between law and crime constantly blurs. It's an open secret that many officers, including some from BOP, have agreements with factions. These agreements can range from simply turning a blind eye in certain areas to active participation in drug trafficking by providing information, protection, or even weapons. Most notorious cases involve police selling military weapons directly to factions, the same weapons they'll later have to face. The most emblematic case of this corruption was the 2018 assassination of Councilwoman Marielle Franco. Marielle was a critical voice against police violence and militias. Her murder was executed with military precision, and years of investigation revealed connections between the killers and paramilitary groups formed by active and former police officers. Her death showed that in Rio, sometimes organized crime and security forces are two faces of the same rotten coin. 5. Tips for tourists: how to survive the real Rio Red Zone. Places to absolutely avoid. Let's start with the golden rule. Never, under any circumstances, enter a favela without an extremely trustworthy local guide. Doesn't matter if you read online that favela tours are safe, or if some backpacker told you they went and nothing happened. Favelas are territories controlled by organized crime, where normal rules don't apply. As a tourist, you're a visible anomaly, and at best, you'll be robbed. At worst, you could get trapped in a shootout. Specific zones to avoid completely. Complexo do Alemão. No exception. Although a tourist cable car exists, areas around stations are extremely dangerous, especially for foreigners. Complexo da Maré, one of Rio's most violent areas. If your GPS or taxi tries taking you through this zone, refuse the route and seek alternatives. North Zone after dark. Neighborhoods like Bom Sucesso, Penha, and areas around Linha Vermelha highway become very dangerous after nightfall. Cidade de Deus, City of God. Yes, the famous one from the movie. It's not a tourist film set. It's a real favela with real violence problem. Lapa after 2 a.m. This bohemian neighborhood is fun and relatively safe until midnight, but afterward becomes dangerous territory. Robberies increase exponentially, and assailant groups take advantage of drunk, careless tourists. Isolated viewpoints and tourist spots, places like Mirante Dona Marta or certain Tijuca National Park points away from main routes, are assailants' preferred spots. If going, do it only on organized tours during daytime. Beaches at sunset, Copacabana and Ipanema may seem safe because there are people, but arrestões frequently occur at dusk when people are relaxed and distracted. How to protect yourself. Urban survival rule. Rule 1. Invisibility is your best defense. Tourists are targets because they're visible. Your goal is to be as inconspicuous as possible. This means leave jewelry, expensive watches, and brand accessories at the hotel. If you can't stop wearing your Apple Watch, cover it with your sleeve. Don't use professional cameras hanging from your neck like you're on safari. Keep your camera in a discreet backpack and take it out only when using it. Wear simple, local clothing. Avoid the typical tourist look. Sandals with socks, cargo shorts with multiple pockets, shirts with your country's flag. Don't walk around looking at maps on your phone with a lost expression. If you need directions, enter a store or cafe. Rule 2. Your phone is your greatest vulnerability. Cell phones are thieves' #1 target in Rio. Here's your strategy. Buy a cheap local phone. Can cost $200, $300 to use on the street. Leave your iPhone or Samsung Galaxy at the hotel. If you insist on carrying your good phone, keep it in your front pants pocket, never back pocket or purse. Never ever use your phone while walking on the street. Motorcycle thieves will snatch it from your hands before you can react. On the beach, never leave your phone on your towel while swimming. Literally, don't take your eyes off your belongings for a second. Rule 3. Smart money. Carry only the cash you need for the day. Divide your money into different places, some in pocket, some in shoe, some inside clothing. Use a decoy wallet with some money, $50, $100, and expired cards. If assaulted, hand this over. Thieves want quick robbery, not to search all your belongings. Memorize emergency numbers to cancel your card. If robbed, cancel immediately. Have a backup credit card hidden in your accommodation. Never carry all cards with you. Rule 4. Safe transportation. Uber and app-based taxis are safer than street taxis, but always verify the license plate and driver before entering. Never take intercity buses after nightfall. Bus assaults are common, especially on routes passing near favelas. The metro is relatively safe during daytime peak hours. Avoid it after 8 p.m. and never at stations near dangerous areas. If renting a car, never park on the street at night. Use only parking garages with security. Rule 5. Behavior during assault. Here's the most important rule of all. If you're assaulted, don't resist under any circumstance. In Rio, assailants are armed and don't hesitate to use their weapons. Your life is worth infinitely more than your phone or wallet. Stay calm. Panic makes you commit mistakes. Hand over everything immediately, without arguing or making sudden moves. Don't look directly into the assailant's eyes. This can be interpreted as defiant. Don't try to be a hero or run. People die over $50 in Rio. Don't risk your life for material objects. After the assault, walk away calmly and seek a safe place before reporting the crime. Tours and guides, how to choose intelligently. If you want to do tours in Rio, especially to less conventional places, choosing a guide can literally be a matter of life or death. Use only established agencies with verifiable reviews on multiple platforms. Distrust guides who approach you on the street or in hostels. For favela tours, if you insist, use only legitimate community organizations like Favela Tourism or Rio Cultural Secret. These tours have agreements with community and contribute economically to them. Ask specifically about security protocols. What happens if there's a shootout during the tour? Do they have evacuation routes? How do they handle emergencies? For nighttime tours, ensure they include door-to-door transportation. Never walk back to your hotel at night after a tour. Travel insurance. Not optional. Many tourists think travel insurance is an unnecessary expense. In Rio, it's absolutely essential. And not just any insurance. Basic insurance often excludes robberies in high-risk zones, theft and loss of belongings. Medical expense. If you're injured during an assault, medical evacuation in case of serious situation, trip cancellation if security situation worsens drastically, useful apps for your safety technology where there's your ally. This crowdsourced app reports in real time where shootouts are occurring in Rio, essential for avoiding conflict areas. Google Maps. Besides obvious navigation, use it to verify which zones you're crossing. If you see your route passes through areas identified as favelas, seek alternatives. WhatsApp. Maintain constant contact with your hotel, hostel. Many establishments have WhatsApp groups for guests with security alert. The best advice: use your instinct. If something feels wrong, it probably is. Humans have survival instincts developed through millennia of evolution. If a place, person, or situation generates discomfort, trust that feeling and walk away. Better to miss a photo opportunity than risk your safety. 6. Conclusion. The real Rio beyond the postcard. So after all this, is Rio de Janeiro worth visiting? The honest answer is yes, but with open eyes and realistic expectations. Rio de Janeiro isn't only danger and violence, it's also genuinely one of the planet's most beautiful cities. Christ the Redeemer at sunset truly takes your breath away. Sugarloaf Mountain is genuinely spectacular. The beaches have that magic you won't find anywhere else. The music playing on every corner, the smell of street food, the warmth of many karaokes you meet along the way, all of that is real too. The problem isn't that tourist Rio is fake. The problem is it's incomplete. It's only half the story. And traveling knowing only half the story is dangerous, literally and figuratively. Rio is a city of brutal contradiction. It's paradise and hell existing simultaneously, separated by just a few blocks or a hillside. It's the most impressive natural beauty coexisting with the cruelest human inequality. It's the joy of samba coexisting with the tears of mothers losing children in urban wars. It's the foreign tourist paying $500 for brunch in Ipanema, while 10 minutes away, a family survives on $500 per month. This duality isn't metaphoric. It's the very essence of what it means to be Rio de Janeiro. And as a tourist, especially as an ethical tourist, you have the responsibility to understand both sides. You can't ignore the dark side while enjoying the bright side. You can't take happy selfies on Copacabana Beach and pretend the favelas on the surrounding hills are just part of the picturesque landscape. If you decide to visit Rio, do it with respect, awareness, and above all, safety. Enjoy the wonders the city offers, but stay alert. Contribute economically to local communities, not just tourist corporations. Learn something about the city's complex history, not just where to take the best photos. And when you return home and people ask, "How was Rio?" Don't just say, "It was beautiful," or "It was dangerous." Tell the complete truth. It was both. Because Rio de Janeiro, with all its problems and all its beauty, deserves that we tell its complete story. Not just the postcard version that travel agencies sell. The marvelous city is, paradoxically, also a terrible city. And only when we accept both realities can we truly understand this extraordinary, complex, problematic, and absolutely unforgettable place called Rio de Janeiro. Final safety word. This article doesn't intend to generate paranoia or dissuade you from traveling. It intends to inform you so you can make intelligent decisions. Thousands of tourists visit Rio each year and have wonderful experiences without incident. The difference between them and crime victims is often simply being informed and taking sensible precautions. Travel smart, stay alert, and Rio can be one of your life's most memorable experiences. But travel naive and ignorant, and Rio can become your worst nightmare. The choice is yours.